Baker Mayfield is still without a new contract with the Buccaneers after turning down a 2-year deal, reportedly worth $100 million. Mayfield said he wanted a longer-term commitment. Here is Buccaneers wide receiver Emeka Egbuka on the NFL Network Back to Football Weekend talking about his quarterback.
It hasn't affected him at all. He actually addressed us on the first day of camp and told us what it was. And he said, obviously my contract stuff is going to be up in the air, but I'm all ball. I'm all business. I'm here for you guys. I'm here to win a championship. So that's the mentality he carries into it every single day. And we wouldn't want a better guy to rally behind as an offense and as a team. Great
response from Egbuka. Adam Schefter is with us here. Let's go 30,000 feet because we heard from Baker and immediately he's disrespected. They don't respect it. Take us through this. What is going on with Baker Mayfield?
Well, if he doesn't want to take the offer, that's entirely his right, and he is within his right to say, I don't like this offer. But to call the offer disrespectful, you judge for yourself. They essentially offered a 2-year extension, averaging over $50 million a year. And the money, the total money, in the 3 years would have put him in the top 5 quarterbacks in the game. But I don't think he liked the length of the deal. I don't think that he liked it was a 2-year extension that would have contractually tied him to 3 years. The money in his mind was off, and he felt disrespected. And so Baker was insulted. We heard from him. The Buccaneers, I think, were disappointed with the way everything went down and what he said, and it creates a rather uncomfortable situation for everybody. Now, everybody's going to go forward. Baker Mayfield to shut down the contract talks. We'll see where it goes from here. And let's not forget, the Buccaneers have the franchise tag available, not only for next year, but the next 2 years. And in my mind, I cannot imagine if he plays the way that he expects to play, and the way we have been used to seeing Baker play, that they're not going to use the franchise tag on him for $47 million next year, which is less than the average of what they're offering. So we're in a rather odd spot for both sides right now.
Mike Tannenbaum, you have been on the other end of this so many times with both the Jets and the Dolphins, of course. If you're Jason Light and you're excited for this season and we've got Baker Mayfield, he's under contract, and he does that press conference, what's the reaction from the team side? And how do you put that back together and say, hey, we have to forge forward? And suddenly this is the biggest topic in all of the NFL. We did not expect this starting camp.
Yeah. You call him in your office, you close the door and say, let's have at it. Like, this is family business. You can say anything you want, and we're going to leave, and we're going to stand shoulder to shoulder and take on the world from here. But Baker Mayfield's, by all accounts, a great teammate, a good person. He's been a really good player, Peter, but he had a really bad day. Let's just keep in mind some context here, right? He called out the Cleveland Brown organization. He called out the Carolina Panther organization. He called out the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, and now has called out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That is 1/8 of the NFL.
That's a point.
You're going to be 32 years old next year. By NFL standards, you're not a great athlete. You're not overly tall. So what team who's going to need a player is going to, a quarterback, say, like, wow, that's the guy we should go get? And to Adam's point, at $47 million, if he plays well, guys, they're going to franchise him. So if you're Baker's agent, like, you're running out of options. Like, who's going to want to sign him? So, like, to me, like, if I'm Baker Mayfield, I get in a room, going back to your point, Peter, talk to Jason Light and say, hey, if it's the 3rd year, let's see what a reasonable compromise would be and get this deal done.
There will be teams that will be interested in signing Baker. I don't care what he says. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Arizona Cardinals. We could see what happens this year with teams and quarterback play across. There will be somebody that would want to sign and pay Baker Mayfield his value. The issue is, I don't believe he's going to get to the open market.
They have his rights.
And here's why I see that different. Like, if you're the Jets, Arizona, Pittsburgh, sure, you're going to investigate all options. But those teams are also going to be looking at the draft and saying, like, maybe we should go get our own young guys. So
look, I'll throw another team.
It won't stop you.
You look at the Rams. If Stafford calls it quits and they don't think Simpson's ready, maybe they say, hey, maybe Baker, we know him. Anyway,
natural.
I look at J-Mac here because you're a player and you were obviously in situations where guys were holding all this stuff. Is there a galvanized, like, let's win one for Baker feeling in that locker room now, where it's like, yeah, Baker should get his money. Let's rally around him and let's play the best football we can for this guy?
Yeah, because, like, that's who Baker is. And I think even to your point, when it comes to management and all of that, you've seen where you've had friends or you've seen other people in a relationship and somebody, there's an argument or something, and they go right to social media and they blast the other person. They're going off, and you're like, oh, no, they're going to break up. And then a day later, they post a picture and they're hanging out on the beach. Like, that to me is Baker. Like, he wears his feelings on his sleeve. So, yes, he was frustrated. He felt disrespected. Regardless of what the offer is, that's how he felt. And he has to let those emotions be heard. He did that. I think the time from that standpoint, though, him, Jason Light, this organization, I think Baker's going to have one hell of a year. And if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you're fired up because you're probably getting the best version of Baker Mayfield. And to both of these guys' points, they have the leverage going forward. So we do hope he throws for almost 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. We'll franchise tag him, and we'll still have him a part of our team. He's going to be our quarterback.
To close the loop a little bit, too, Baker said his piece. Everyone went hysterical. Yesterday at practice, Baker was there with his family. He's hanging out. He's smiling. Everyone said he's with the fan. It's not like Baker's holding out or furious. He just wanted to say his piece.
So now on the beach.
Peter, go back to your original question. What would I say if I was Jason Light? I would also say, as Coach Parcells would say, you are the battlefield commander of this organization. You're the CEO. So you want to be frustrated, you want to be pissed, come on in, closed door. Plenty of players have done that to me over the years. Plenty of agents. Shout at me, call me any name in the book. I got broad shoulders. And then let's go out and comport ourselves as professional. You can't do that as the starting quarterback. You're in a different role.
Baker Mayfield is Baker Mayfield. He might be the outlier. He might be able to do it because that's just how he is. Coming up, Giants expectations.
Man, look at Jeremy Fowler. A, just look at him. And B, look at the training camp tour that continues from Ashburn, Virginia. Today, he's live from Commander's Camp. He's going to stay in the DMV tomorrow. He's going to head to Owings Mills, Maryland, not for the mall, but for Ravens camp, followed by visits to the Eagles, to the Jets training camp. Could close things out. Mr. I-95, J-Bone Capone is with us this morning from Ashburn, Virginia. What's the word around camp, Jeremy, so far about Jaden Daniels as he looks ahead to what he hopes is a bounce-back season?
Randy, the Commanders believe Jaden Daniels is going to bring it all together, and a lot of the league thinks that too. Talking to executives with other teams, they bring up that Daniels should regain his rightful place among the NFL greats, that top tier. He's got that kind of ability. The only thing that nicks him is injuries. So out here on the practice field, which the Commanders will take here shortly in pads for the first day, Daniels is going to be working on a few things. He's working on his vocal leadership. He's pushing himself to be maybe less of an introvert, to be more outspoken where he needs to be. He's working on going through his progressions faster as well. He wants to get through them so that he can dump it off to the running backs where he needs to be, get the ball to players in space.
You can be an ambivert. You can be a little bit of both, you know, extroverted, introvert. Commanders wide receiver room, Jeremy, looks thin compared to years past. We're going to give you a look exactly at what we're talking about as you look at lack of depth, some have said. Could they look to add a receiver?
They could, but days like today are what they want to evaluate so they can really see what they have. The sense here in Washington is they want to go through some days to see what, like Antonio Williams, the third-round Clemson rookie, can do. He can work outside or in the slot. The returns on him in the spring were really good, so they're pleased with that. They got some young players they want to see. You know, Traylon Burks, former first-round pick, can he be a deep threat for them? So they're working through all that. Now, the big presence out there is like a Stephon Diggs, free agent. He's had several teams checking in on him. He's from the DMV area. He would have interest in returning to Washington. Keenan Allen is out there as well. So Washington has some options at their disposal. They just aren't pouncing on it yet, but they very well could.
Brandon Ayuk's made no secret of the fact that he wants to come and play for the Commanders as well. Washington had 3 players last season with more than 500 receiving yards, and 2 of them, including Deebo Samuel, are gone. You mentioned a first-round pick or a former one in Traylon Burks. What about a current one here for Washington? How has Sonny Styles looked so far?
Yeah, Sonny Styles is head coach Dan Quinn's new wacky experiment because Quinn loves to take exotic front 7 players and have them going downhill or have them going deep up the seam in pass coverage. Sonny Styles can do all that. You think of Micah Parsons and what Quinn did with Parsons. Now, this is a different player, more of an inside linebacker than a pass rusher, but he has some hybrid traits that Quinn can utilize, especially when they go in pads today for the first day. Styles is a player that you're going to feel, and the Commanders are going to feel today because he's ultra physical and he's got great feet and can cover downhill. So they feel like over time he's going to change the complexion of this defense.
Plenty of room for improvement on the defensive side of the football, but that's not me talking. It's just the stats that bear it out. Jeremy Fowler with the very latest from Ashburn, Virginia. Thank you, Jeremy.